With that, sir, over to you.
Yeah. Well, let me just check, is this working? Can you all hear me? Right, it's absolutely great and it's absolutely fantastic to be here. And with this particular panel, I'm going to start with a little personal side. 2-3 years ago, when I took the decision to quit television news and try something on my own, it was based because I felt that the world of consumption was changing completely. And in particular, I felt that the world of television news needed to be brought down. I have every single session I have spoken in the last 3 years, I've always asked the audience whether they thought television news, the quality of that is sliding every time everyone has raised their hand. So just to keep with that tradition, how many of you think that the world of television news has started to deteriorate sharply? I'm so glad it's always unanimous. I just want to maintain that tradition. That also leads us to the basic question that we are addressing, which is what replaces it? As content starts to change, it's changing in the world of news, it's changing in the world of entertainment, we know streaming, we are hearing about online, how is it changing? You can't get 3 better people than them to talk to us about it, so I'm going to be picking their brains extensively. And just staying with that personal theme, if you'll indulge me for another minute or two, it's really fantastic for me to be on the same stage as these 3, and there's a reason for that. Many times in the last year, and I was on stage again a month ago, 2 months ago, and somebody asked me this question from the audience. When you decided to quit TV news and set up Editor G, which company inspired you? So I thought about it sitting on the stage. I said, 3 companies come to mind. Spotify, Taotiao, which is ByteDance, which is TikTok, and Google. And it just is by chance that I have all 3 with me. So first of all, thank you all so much. Now, that all having been said, tell us, how's the world of content changing? Content consumption in particular, how is it changing? What are the big trends that you're finding? Neha, Spotify, why don't you start with that?
So I think I wouldn't say that something has drastically changed this year, but I think it's been evolving. We've seen this in the past 2-3 years. The 2 big things that come to my mind is content democratization, and I think things within that has changed. Things within the digital ecosystem has fueled it. And the other thing which we see, which is literally thriving, is personalization. For Spotify, personalization is the DNA, and we see that how the world is evolving towards personalization. Everything that we do now is literally around that. So I think these 2 are the top 2 for me. Yeah.
All right. Etram.
Am I audible? Yeah. Short form videos. I think that's where things are headed for content consumption on the internet. That's what we have seen at TikTok. The world has changed. People have very short attention span. Things have gone personalized. The screen that we carry, there used to be a shared screen in the family. Now it's all a personalized that we carry. We have at least one in our pocket, a smartphone, and that's a game changer. And we've seen a very interesting trend in India, like the way people are consuming content within 5 or 6 minutes of span. They want to see and read as much as possible. And that's a game changer, both for advertiser as well as content creators.
Okay, personalization, short form video.
First of all, congratulations on Editor G. If I have to say what has really changed in the last 1 year, I think content stroke video has actually become a movement. If there is one word that comes to me to describe the latest phenomena, it ceased to be a medium or a genre of entertainment. It has become like a people's movement. 400 million people with insatiable amount of curiosity on content, right? So we are seeing this happen every day at YouTube. And 3 things that actually define what's happening right now is that video has become a lot more helpful and a lot more relevant and a lot more diverse in terms of the content that is actually happening. Let me just double click on each one of them. It's become super helpful because even if you're buying a smartphone or if you're buying an automotive or a car or a bike, 80% of decision making, or even more in some cases, happens after checking a video. right? In spite of awareness, in spite of consideration, the moment of truth is actually happening after checking, comparison and watching a video from an influencer, etc. Second is why I'm saying it is relevant is because we're seeing a very unique phenomena where the searches on YouTube are actually happening in some categories like entertainment and FMCG are higher than even Google searches. So people are seeking content what they want. It is not about passive entertainment. It is like, I want to know exactly this, and I'm consuming content the way I want to consume, right? It's a big change because YouTube search is becoming higher than Google searches is a massive trend. And the third is the diversity of genre that are actually happening is also amazing, right? I don't know if you have heard of this channel called Wi-Fi Study. How many of you have heard of this channel called Wi-Fi Study? Some of you, because all of you have jobs. For the middle India who do not have jobs, they are hooked onto this channel because this is the way they are cracking their UPSC, UPPSC, and RRB examinations. It has 10 million subscribers. There's another channel called Studio IQ, Study IQ, which is another 6.5 million subscribers. There are farming channels emerging, right? There are gaming channels emerging. So a few months ago, we used to have like 3 channels crossing 1 million subscribers every week. Today, we have 3 almost crossing every day. So I think, in one word, it's a movement.
Let me go in reverse direction and start with you and come this way. On the entire question, though, about the tipping point. Now, we've always have had this discussion for years, if not decades.
Yeah.
Print moving to television, television moving online, are all going to coexist, are all 3 not going to coexist? And especially for advertisers and marketeers and brand custodians, what point do you say I'm going to bet everything online? Or
Now.
most of it online?
Now.
But they're not doing it, are they?
Yeah, exactly, right? Let's do a little bit of a experiment, right? Can I do it with the audience?
Sure, feel free.
Guys, can you guys please fold your hands? Like, all of you? All of you. Right, and we can also do it. Can you fold your hands in the reverse direction? Just reverse the, yeah. See? And it may take 50 times before you perfect the art of folding your hands in the reverse direction, right? So what happens is that when print has actually come in, you had readership as the core metric. And when TV has actually come in, if TV had fought the battle on readership, they would have never won. And you have known this better than anyone else. Now with digital coming in, so TV has actually invented viewership, right? And that has stayed there for like decades. So digital is the real thing, right? So the way you measure digital has to go above and beyond the current TV first way of measurement, and that's the reason what is holding back, because consumers have already moved on, right? Like, you have spent so many years on TV, you have moved on because this is where the users are. And the tipping point is now for the simple reason that video or digital per se has become a daily habit. And whenever something becomes from a monthly habit or a weekly habit to a daily habit, then things move. Then you can influence the mindset, you can influence the perception, you can influence what they buy, and so on and so forth. So I think there's a report by BCG globally which said that $800 billion will move to the top 15% companies in the next few years who can crack personalization at scale. And everybody's dabbling with it, right? So nobody gets it. And that's going to happen really quickly. So if you as a company want to be doing tip of the spear work, you should make that movement now, particularly in India.
That's really interesting. Now, again, when you're going to people, you're talking about audiences and where the audiences have moved to. He was absolutely correct in saying that one of the big issues which is there in both in print and in television, which is not there to some extent in digital, is measurement. Television, at the end of the day, all of us knows, is based on 30,000 bucks, 1.3 billion people. You can tell people that here are the guys who are watching this video and here is the way they are watching it. So logically, as he's saying, that tipping point should be coming. But it's not really come yet, has it?
So, well, thanks so much, Bhaskar, for setting the ground. So I don't need to sell the digital part now. That's done. So it's all about intent marketing and digital being the most measurable form. I mean, there are some challenges for being so accountable for every penny that comes over there. That's a separate thing that we can have a separate discussion on that. But having said that, the dollars are moving to more and more accountable area. And it's all about intent marketing. Marketers want to catch the buyers or consumers when they're in the right state of mind, be it a search, be it a content, be it a content of any form, be it video or text. It's easier on digital, it's very convenient and measurable to find them at the right stage of the buying cycle, tap them and measure it. And that's what is going to be the deciding factor for the marketing dollars to move.
Okay. Neha, would you be, I mean, for Spotify, obviously there are two revenue models, but would you be betting on the fact that ads are going to move, or will India be a subscription model? Interestingly, India's never, like in television at any rate, very few people ever made money from subscription. It's always been more advertising driven, with a cricket maybe, or one or two, some entertainment channels. But do you think, which do you think is going to predominate?
So I think right now, globally, Spotify does have a heavy subscription-based model, but in India, we more heavily rely on the ad revenue. I think it is going to continue that way right now. Looking at the way the ecosystem is right now, if the competitors are offering, great product at, in the free model, I think we would want to be competitive, and we are doing that. The Spotify India app is actually designed for India. Nowhere across the globe is there a free model. All the features that we have in the Spotify free model are not available globally. It's designed for India, and that is keeping in mind that, the Indian consumer, habits, which is basically, they really don't mind seeing a few ads here and there and enjoy them. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a little bit far. We do have the subscription model, and we do see people upgrade, but completely moving to that is a little bit far.
So just the way the entire music industry has changed around the world, where from people buying CDs and cassettes, now you find there's a completely different business model that exists. Do you feel that it's going to happen in India as well? I mean, it's the business model for the entire music industry really changing, where it will be from streaming and subscriptions and
Yeah,
other
absolutely. I mean, absolutely. How many people do actually go and buy CDs and tapes, right? I mean, what we've also seen now, but one behavior, which is the CD tape behavior, is the playlist behavior, right? People want to listen to playlists.
Yeah.
Yeah? So the behavior of sit back and enjoy 20 songs in one go exists. And that's what we are tapping on. So that behavior exists, yeah.
Right, let's just come to some of the themes that you were speaking about. Now, when you are looking at the behavior that will operate on a small screen as opposed to a big screen, number one, short form is what you said. It tackles micro boredom on occasion. You have 5-6 seconds to kill, pick up your phone. It's always with you, so you just pick it up and you're doing something. That leads to very different consumption patterns also.
Absolutely. This is a very interesting topic that I read recently, the micro boredom. Whether we realize or not, but we are bored for a very fraction of, like for a couple of seconds. And that's where we pick up the small screen, check something, and put it back, and we're back to our normal life. So, and this is where TikTok as a platform comes in picture. We have made it really snacky. You have a couple of seconds, you can consume a couple of videos. And this becomes a very interesting space for advertisers as well. Because audience needs an instant gratification. I have 10 seconds, tell me what you got. And I'm really amazed the way advertisers have adopted to this space, the way they are creating, the way they are engaging in those few seconds. That's very impressive. And that's where even the advertising trend is headed as of now for us.
Do you find people doing a lot more of that because they're wanting to consume, or because they're also wanting to contribute? Because that's a key part of TikTok.
For us, everybody is a creator, and I think TikTok actually has democratized the creativity in India, and that's what we've seen. Everybody is a creator. A large portion of our user base actually creates and shares the content. So I think there's a hunger for creativity. Everybody has got some talent, and that's where we have given a platform.
Bhaskar, for you, is the short form, which is what logically is the format for smaller screens. Is that what a lot of the creators are still doing on YouTube, or is it still slightly longer form, and especially the professional content creators, TV companies who are coming to YouTube or the equivalent will say, just take my show or run my channel live, which is fine, but theoretically it's not really capturing what the USP of connected devices should be.
Yeah, no, I think clearly short form is something that we're seeing youngsters pick up actively. But I think this whole insight of micro boredom, I think is very wrongly interpreted, right? For example, what we're seeing is we say on the one side, we say that the goldfish has, low attention span and hence coming to human beings, right? But the fact is we have unlimited time to watch a Netflix series and probably finishing an entire season before the next episode starts, right? That means we have infinite time for what I want to watch, right? So I think the question is really about relevance. And as India moved from a data deficient country to a data surplus country, the relevant question to ask is that, hey, you know what, are we presenting the right recommendations to the user? Because unlike television, where you have to first choose the channel and choose the program where you have to stop the remote, right? You don't need to do that on video, because the recommendation engine already picks up the most relevant content suited to your interests. So you're actually, consuming content in a more active manner compared to a very passive way of approach, right, overall. So I feel that India has been a storytelling nation for probably thousands of years, and video is actually tapping into this trend, and there will be a short form trend, but I think the long form storytelling is here to stay. And you will see more such things emerging, be it from originals or paid models or, advertising funded models, etc. But I think all forms will coexist. But Indians love stories, and stories do not have a time limit.
So if I could just, debate that for a minute or two and maybe get the others into it. What you're saying is absolutely correct, that when it comes to digital video formats, such as Netflix, if you're watching a series, yes, you will tap the button and you'll sit back and you'll watch it for 30 minutes. And then you'll binge watch. You'll watch the next one and the next one, the rest of it. That's fine if it comes to entertainment. But let's look at some other categories. News, for example, or information. In news, sometimes you just want 15, 20 snippets of information. You need to know what's happened. Has president's rule been imposed, not imposed? Markets up, markets down? Who won the cricket match? Who won that? It's only 15 seconds. Correct. So to that extent, do you need to create new form factors that will enable people to get micro pieces of information? And for us at Editorgy, for example, the solution was to use playlists that Neha was just talking about. You put it into playlists and then use personalization and AI to create a proper playlist. Will there be different formats? Therefore, I think what I'm trying to ask is, will there be different formats for an entertainment or watching a live sports show? And should there be a completely different format for other forms of content which may lend themselves more to short?
Yeah, so all forms will coexist, right? For example, the news by definition is a snacky format, and it makes a lot of relevance to package the top headlines in a simpler way, and it always worked. It is not a new phenomenon. You did this on television as also fairly successfully. There were a set of television channels which have got launched, which gives only snackable news content, right? So I think the phenomena is not new. But what I'm saying is that if you take a user lens, if there is a new story, if that interests me as a user, I have unlimited time to follow the story, right? And across the entire spectrum. So I think all genres of entertainment need to pivot with a user-first approach and respecting the fact that he or she is actually keen and snacking it to know whether I need to watch more of it or not. Yeah. So you need to have a trailer, and you need and content like news have to have a trailer for the trailer, right? For it to kind of hook the user into that content. So all forms will coexist, and all forms are video fundamentally, but but clearly different consumers will pick up different.
Right. So Neha, two of the themes that you spoke to would therefore come from that the minute it is short,
Yeah.
and the minute you can put it in, you can then apply a personalization to it, and then find ways of giving it in a stitched manner, which is what Spotify does.
Yeah, I think what we also do specifically is something called automated content marketing, and we use, the new real estate now that, the OEMs are offering, which is 0 screen or N-1 screen, which is literally 3 seconds, right? If I have 3 seconds, I will put on your lock screen that, hey, it's your coffee time, and this is your coffee playlist. So there you are, 3 seconds. And it is a trailer to the trailer, right?
Yeah.
Like you said.
No, and also if you see another big trend which is bound to happen over the next 1 year or so is with broadband being connected, television, like basically the big screen is going to come back with a vengeance, particularly among the most affluent families, right? So, and big screen you're watching with the same, expectation to entertain me, right, overall. So, focusing more on content and not on the screen is probably the right approach, rather than optimizing, for devices.
I completely agree with you. As he's saying, it is very possible, actually, frankly, and that's what's happening right now. The difference is maybe linked to what she was saying about personalization and choice. The big difference is that earlier you didn't have the choice of saying, okay, I'm going to open up a Netflix or an Amazon Prime or whatever it is and get exactly what I want to watch and have recommendations thrown to me which are similar to what I want. Is that where the real difference is coming?
Yeah, that's what we've seen. Actually, it's all about intent. It's all about what you want to consume. And like Bhaskar rightly said, both formats, short and long format, are going to coexist, and it depends on the need and depends on the level of boredom one's got, whether it's macro boredom or you're really bored and you've got time to binge watch. That's going to remain. And what we've seen on our platform, TikTok, is there's a wide variety of content. Even in the snackable short format, not just entertainment, but people are watching food, travel, well-being. People are talking, creating content around something which is really, really hyper-local. That makes me very nostalgic. I come from a small town in UP. And there are videos around that actually takes me back to the platform where people are talking about really hyper-local food and really hyper-local jokes. So that's what we connect to. So it's all about customization to the root level.
That brings you back to personalization,
Absolutely.
So when it comes to personalization, how much of that are you finding? Are people happy to personalize? Do they want that? Is that a key USP?
Yes, it is. And I think we've seen that behavior in the 8 months that we've existed. We've seen people, come and search for songs one after the other. And now we see that they have evolved to a playlist behavior because, they know that this playlist is personalized to me. What it also sort of gives birth to is discovery. And that is also something that they're enjoying and taking and digesting well. It's no more about searching a particular song. That's not personalization. I will serve you because I know you better. In fact, we have comments on social media that, oh, Spotify knows me better than my wife, or Spotify knows me better than me, because it just serves me what I want. And it's not only based on what you've, heard in the past, but it's also what we feel is new, relevant, and lookalikes are hearing. So, yeah.
And you can personalize it in multiple ways so that there is a playlist for
everything.
Whatever you're doing. There's a playlist for everything. I keep saying, I keep wanting to borrow that line and say there's a news list for everything, which we'll discuss at some point. Let's turn to regionalization, to regional now and vernacular. That perhaps ties into this to some extent. Is that, we keep hearing that it's all going to be vernacular, it's all going to be regional languages. Is that the way it's panning out?
No, absolutely. Regional explosion has been a big trend over the last couple of years. I think the core of this is that internet, the way it evolved in India for the first 200 million users, is like English-centric. The moment video has gone beyond, like the popular, the next 200 million users, etc. What happened is video knows no language, and then and two things have happened. So 9 out of 10 new internet users are coming to the internet, which are actually from the regional folks, right? So because they are not able to even type in English, or even if they type in English about their, in the regional content, in a Telugu or Tamil, they're getting that content, right? You get all dialects and all languages are available on video, basically. So the regional users found their content on video. And second thing is, voice search also enabled quite a bit of this change, because even if they can't type, because language input on phones are not quite intuitive yet. So, but people are really comfortable in actually like clicking that voice button and then, talking what they want. Like even my mother, if she wants to listen to a devotional song, she would not be comfortable in typing in English. She just puts the voice speaker and say, hey, Lakshmi Sahasranamam, and then that list picks up, right, from that. So regional is a huge trend. We are even seeing a lot of middle India kind of languages are also like turning very, very large scale content and creators emerging because of this.
All right.
Within Hindi as well.
Regional?
Yeah, regional is big for us. I mean, surprisingly, we've seen videos and content being created from the remotest town in the country in absolutely hyper-local tone and language. And so that was the reason that it became, again, coming back to personalization. So it was hyper-local, and that's the reason people found that connect with the content, because it was created like that. And in fact, we have moderation now for supporting 15 languages. Other than Hindi, we support Gujarati, Bengali, and several other languages. So that, for us, is definitely a very key focus in India.
How about you?
Yeah, I think Hindi and English is where we started, but we do have a great catalog for Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, Punjabi, of course. And we now see a very healthy consumption mix as well. So Punjabi is actually the number 3 language. Tamil is the number 4 language on Spotify.
Punjabi ahead of...
Yes, ahead of Tamil. And just to give you a fun fact, that Punjabi is actually not only consumed in the northern states. If I see the October data, the maximum number of Punjabi wedding playlists were consumed in any thoughts where? Which state? Which city? Ahmedabad. Yeah, so it's I mean, like Bhaskar said that, video has no boundaries, but music literally has no boundaries. I mean, there is huge Tamil consumption in the northern India, and Punjabi is actually, it's a global phenomena.
All right, great. I'm going to throw it open to some questions, but one last comment perhaps from each of you. An example of how a brand has effectively been able to use you, and what would be your message to brands? Why should they be on Spotify?
I think 2 brands come to my mind. One is Subway, the other one is Netflix. Both the brands have leveraged the platform really well. I think 2 things to call out for the brands. One, I think they should leverage the real estate a little bit more holistically. It doesn't make sense to do only audio or only banner. Let's make use of the whole real estate. And what Netflix and Subway have done is actually done an integrated API. Based on your music consumption, you will be served a Subway. Or based on your YouTube or on your Spotify consumption, you will be actually served an Adidas sneaker. Yeah, so these are the kind of integrations that we've done. And also, I mean, we offer playlists
I'm still trying to think, how are you going to do an Adidas sneaker based on, okay, we'll figure it out.
You have a running playlist, or you have like a hard workout playlist.
Okay.
Yeah. What kind of running do you do? Are you into sprinting, or are you into long distance? So, yeah.
Okay, now I get it, yeah.
Several brands across the verticals have worked with us on TikTok. One which I want to mention is very interesting case studies for Clean and Clear face wash. They worked with us and they wanted to connect. They wanted to launch a special package, 5 different variants, reaching out to 5 different personality types in young girls. So they created very interesting jingles. So you are geeky, you are sporty, whatever, the 5 different jingles we created. And we launched a campaign called #Unbottle Apna Swag. So, and we saw an amazing response. I mean, we never expected that this kind of response. That was one of the first hashtag challenges that we launched in India. So there were 10,000 videos, user videos created on those jingles. So imagine the kind of engagement that came. People shared, their friends, families, they liked, their network, they liked it. So total video views generated was close to 20 billion. So, and in fact, the interesting part is I was presenting this somewhere outside India in Europe, and we had several case studies from other markets, which was a million, and suddenly when India comes, there's a billion. And people are like, a billion? Are you sure this is not a typo? I said, no, sir. In India, everything starts with a billion, so let's move on. So,
Right, that's good.
No, I think there are multiple brands every day driving results on Google. A lot of our customers are here. Thanks for the partnership. I want to share two things, right? Like one is what we're seeing is that we're moving from a precision era, like targeting the right user with the right ad, to a more predictive era, right? Why I'm saying this precision to prediction is because, first of all, whether tech can drive cars without drivers or not, but advertising is definitely getting automated, right? Like, you can download an app or you can influence people to buy. So I just want to give one example of some great work done by multiple set of brands under the thing called Ruled by Weather. Weather impacts many industries. If you are selling a water purifier or a soap or or hand wash or multiple industries. So we created an entire predictive algorithm which inputs multiple 40 plus signals around weather, humidity and temperature and all sort of signals, and then able to predict when a particular epidemic may break and in which city. And we're able to kind of deliver and trigger ads exactly at the right moment in an automated manner, right? So in FMCG alone, we kind of did this across 40 categories and 200 plus India cities. And this delivered like phenomenal results. And the examples from GSK for Otrivin, Unilever, and Godrej, and multiple advertisers across different categories have used this weather prediction model, and which is ML-led. And being able to deliver great business results, right? Some moved sales, some moved brand metrics in a significant manner. The second example, which I'm again seeing as another tip of the spear trend, is if digital first brand building is happening in many industries, particularly in consumer brands. Earlier, to build a 100 crore brand in an FMCG scenario, it used to take 100 crore of money over a period of like 3 years. But today, with the new digital infrastructure that is possible and with digital's ability to deliver full funnel, both upper funnel and lower funnel, you can build brands quickly and more efficiently. We are seeing examples that you can build a 100 crore brand in like 30 crores by leveraging digital well. Brands like Garnier, Micellar, it's a makeup brand from L'Oreal. There are a bunch of D2C brands that actually are leveraging this. So what you're fundamentally seeing is that if you have 10 crores or less, and if you want to launch a brand, you're better off not doing television and can do digital first and deliver results.
Okay, that's great. Shiny, I think we are done for time, or do we have time for a question? Okay, 2 questions. Who has a question? Okay, we're going to save you 2 minutes. No, we're not.
Hi, this is Aditi from ZS, and I'm extremely delighted to know your thoughts on and views on content consumption trends in India. I had 2 questions actually, so I think I'll save another person from asking a question. One was as we're seeing the diminishing trend in the attention span of viewers, do you see that where do you see the content consumption trend for next 5 years? I've seen a huge decline in the time period that people are interested to see a video. Where do you see us going in another 5 years? And the second follow-up question for that would be, from a content creator standpoint, do you think the variety that viewers are asking for is we are losing quality and just creating the quantity of videos?
Okay, 2 really good questions. I'm going to throw it to the panel. But on the first one, just a interesting, aside on that. When I started my TV news career, it was in a company called Newstrack. Every story would be 2 minutes long. Every story would be 2 minutes long. And it 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 would be 2 minimum of 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes on a video cassette. That's what happened. Then when we moved to main broadcast television, the average for a story is 2.5 minutes. When we were doing editor-G a year ago, many of the same people had come from the team, and I said, now we're going to make it in 20 seconds or less. They said, you are insane. There is no possible way that a story can be told in less than, okay, 45 seconds. I said, 15 seconds. Now, it starts to grate on us if a story is more than 15 seconds. So I think you are to some extent correct in certain areas. Who wants to go first on both those aspects?
I'll have Bhaskar and him talk about a little more. But I think just to add to what Bhaskar was talking earlier on, there will be a long form content, there will be a trailer, and then there will be a trailer to a trailer. So that will exist. I think all of them will exist together. We are seeing change both in the real estate being offered by the advertisers, but I think also we have seen that the creators themselves have evolved to storytelling which is under 10 seconds. So, I mean, we see that now in the market, right? I mean, there are Thumbstopper as a real estate available, but there are also creators who are offering that, right? That creativity, which is under 10 seconds. So I think the ecosystem has evolved both ways, from a real estate and as well as the creativity standpoint.
Edram?
Thank you so much for this question. I love it. It's all about
I
micro
thought you
boredom.
would.
It's all about micro boredom. I mean, long form will exist. People would continue to love Netflix, and long form videos continue to do binge watching. I do it myself. But it's all about micro boredom. It's all about the short attention span. You have 30 seconds, 40 seconds in between, and you are boarding a flight, you're in the queue, and suddenly you take out a smartphone and consume some content. I think that habit is going to evolve further, and that's like Vikram said. We as content producers, we have to move forward and create that snackable content. And that is the future of content consumption. And both long form and short form will exist and coexist. There is no competition there.
Micro boredom coined by TikTok?
I'm wondering, is micro boredom coined by you? No. Okay.
Not a big fan of micro boredom, as you can see. But yeah, 5 years is a really long time to predict anything. So I will not guess anything. But I can only tell you, video will become a lot more immersive, right? Technologies like AR and VR will take off very clearly, and then any video, it'll be an experience which you'll be seeing, and you will see more of it as you go forward. And I think fundamentally it'll be like videos will be everywhere, right? It'll be like air you breathe, and it need to be more helpful. It need to be a lot more relevant. It need to be a lot more intuitive, and it'll be a lot multiple genres will emerge, not limited to entertainment. So that's what I see.
All right, great. Thank you all so much for having joined us and for all those insights.
Thank you very
Let's
much.
hope the industry continues to transform.
Thank you very much to all of our speakers. I'm going to request you to please come together for a group photo.